First Contact and Hidden Strengths. The day the aliens arrived was like any other in New York City. Traffic snarled the streets, tourists gawked at skyscrapers, and Wall Street hummed with the frenetic energy of money in motion. But at 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everything changed. A shadow fell over Manhattan, plunging the city into an eerie twilight. People stopped in their tracks, necks craning skyward. Floating above the spire of the Empire State Building was a colossal ship, its hull a shifting mosaic of iridescent metals that defied earthly physics. News choppers swarmed the airspace, their cameras broadcasting the impossible sight to a stunned global audience. The alien vessel dwarfed aircraft carriers, stretching nearly 2 miles from bow to stern. Its presence was both majestic and terrifying, a stark reminder of humanity's sudden, jarring introduction to a larger cosmic community. As panic began to ripple through the streets, a message boomed from the ship. It echoed in every language simultaneously, a feat that left linguists baffled and awed. People of Earth, be not afraid. We come in peace, bearing the gift of enlightenment. We are the Galactic Empire, and we welcome you to a new era of interstellar cooperation. The words were soothing, but there was an undercurrent of condescension that didn't go unnoticed by many. It was the tone one might use when addressing a child or a pet, affectionate, but unmistakably superior. Within hours, similar ships appeared over other major cities: London, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo. The world held its breath, teetering on the knife edge between wonder and terror. In Washington, D.C., President Elena Rodriguez sat in the Situation Room, surrounded by grim-faced advisors and military brass. The tension was palpable as they watched live feeds from around the globe. "Madam President," General Wei Chung said, his voice tight, "our air defenses are ready, but against that level of technology, I'm not sure they'd even scratch the paint." Rodriguez nodded, her dark eyes never leaving the screens. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that, General. For now, we play nice, but stay alert." As if on cue, a holographic image flickered to life in the center of the room. A figure materialized, tall, humanoid, but unmistakably alien. Its skin was a pale lavender, with elongated limbs and large, almond-shaped eyes that seemed to glow from within. "Greetings, leaders of Earth," the alien said, its mouth not quite sensing with the words. "I am Ambassador Zix Era of the Galactic Empire. We request an immediate audience to discuss your world's integration into our benevolent empire." The room erupted into a flurry of whispers and hurried conversations. Rodriguez stepped forward, her posture straight and dignified. "Ambassador Zix Era, I am President Elena Rodriguez of the United States. On behalf of Earth, we welcome you and look forward to peaceful dialogue. However, I must stress that Earth is home to many sovereign nations. Any discussions about integration must involve representatives from all our world's governments." The alien's expression was hard to read, but there was a flicker of what might have been amusement or annoyance. "Of course," Zix Era replied smoothly. "We will arrange a global assembly. Prepare your world's leaders. We shall convene in 3 of your Earth days." The hologram vanished, leaving the room in stunned silence. "Well," Rodriguez said, breaking the tension, "I guess we better call the UN." The next 72 hours were a whirlwind of diplomatic activity. World leaders scrambled to present a united front, setting aside long-standing rivalries in the face of this unprecedented situation. Behind the scenes, military forces around the globe were placed on high alert, ready for any possibility. As promised, on the 3rd day, a massive alien delegation descended upon the United Nations headquarters in New York. The General Assembly Hall had been hastily retrofitted to accommodate the visitors, some of whom required special atmospheric conditions to breathe comfortably. Ambassador Zix Era stood at the podium, flanked by a diverse array of alien species. Some were vaguely humanoid, others defied easy description. But all exuded an air of advanced civilization that made the human delegates feel suddenly primitive. "Esteemed representatives of Earth," Zix Era began, his voice simultaneously translated into every Earth language. "We come to offer you membership in the greatest civilization the universe has ever known. The Galactic Empire spans millions of worlds, bringing peace, prosperity, and technological marvels beyond your wildest imaginations." A murmur of excitement rippled through the human delegates. But as Zix's era continued, the mood began to shift. "Of course, your world is quaint, primitive by our standards. But fear not. We shall guide you, nurture you, help you take your first toddling steps into the cosmic community." The condescension was no longer subtle. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "In exchange for our protection and mentorship, we ask only for access to your planet's resources and a modest tribute of labor for our grand projects. A small price for the wonders we offer, wouldn't you agree?" The assembly hall erupted into a cacophony of voices. Some nations seemed eager to accept, dazzled by the promise of advanced technology. Others were more skeptical, bristling at the implied subjugation. President Rodriguez stood, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Ambassador Zixara, while we appreciate your generous offer, Earth is not a single political entity. We have diverse cultures, governments, and values. Any agreement must respect our autonomy and the sovereignty of our nations." Zixara's large eyes blinked slowly, a gesture that somehow conveyed both pity and amusement. "My dear Madam President, you misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. It is a courtesy notice. The Empire has claimed this sector of space, and your world falls within our domain. Resistance would be inadvisable." The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. The implicit threat hung in the air like a storm cloud. It was at that moment that an unexpected voice rang out. Dr. Aisha Patel, a respected anthropologist who had been invited as a cultural advisor, stood up from her seat in the Earth delegation. "Ambassador," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation, "I believe you may be underestimating the people of Earth." Zixara turned his gaze to her, curiosity mingling with dismissal. "Oh, and why is that, human?" Dr. Patel stepped forward, her eyes scanning the alien delegation. "In my studies of human history and culture, I've observed a pattern. Whenever humanity has faced overwhelming odds or superior forces, we've demonstrated a remarkable ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome." She gestured to the diverse human delegates. "Look around this room. We may seem primitive to you, but consider this. In the span of a single century, we went from horse-drawn carriages to landing on our moon. Our technology may not match yours, but our rate of progress is exponential." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the human delegates, backs straightening with pride. "Moreover," Dr. Patel continued, "our diversity, which you seem to view as a weakness, is our greatest strength. Earth is a tapestry of cultures, each with unique perspectives and problem-solving approaches. This variety has driven our innovation and resilience throughout history." Zixara's expression remained impassive, but some of the other alien delegates exchanged glances. "A quaint perspective," Zixara said, his tone dripping with condescension. "But the Empire has incorporated thousands of species. Your spunk, while admirable, is hardly unique." Dr. Patel stood her ground. "Perhaps, but I caution you against dismissing us too quickly. Humanity has a long history of surprising those who underestimate us." As she returned to her seat, a ripple of applause spread through the human delegates. For the first time since the aliens arrived, there was a glimmer of defiance in the eyes of Earth's representatives. Unbeknownst to the alien delegation, Dr. Patel's words had struck a chord far beyond the walls of the UN. Broadcasts of the assembly had been streaming worldwide, and her speech became a rallying cry. Social media exploded with messages of human pride and determination. #HumanityUnited and #WhereEarth began trending globally. In secret bunkers and hidden laboratories around the world, Project Phoenix, a classified international initiative, kicked into high gear. For years, the world's top scientists and military minds had been preparing for the possibility of extraterrestrial contact. Now, their theoretical plans were becoming urgent reality. As the UN assembly continued, with Zixera outlining the Empire's expectations for Earth's integration, humanity was already mobilizing. In underground bases, reverse-engineered technology from crashed alien crafts, long kept secret from the public, was being weaponized. Quantum computers were analyzing alien communication patterns, searching for vulnerabilities. The aliens had arrived expecting an easy conquest. They would soon discover that humanity was far from the primitive species they assumed. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of Earth and potentially reshape the galaxy. Little did the Galactic Empire know, they had just awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity was ready to show the universe what they were truly capable of. The Empire's hubris. The ultimatum came 3 days after the UN assembly. Ambassador Zixera's holographic image appeared simultaneously on every screen on Earth. Televisions, smartphones, computers, even electronic billboards in Times Square. People of Earth, the alien diplomat began, his tone a mixture of paternalism and thinly veiled threat. Your leaders have been uncooperative. The Galactic Empire's patience is not infinite. You have 48 hours to submit to imperial rule or face the consequences. As the message faded, a wave of panic swept across the globe. Social media exploded with a mixture of fear, anger, and calls for resistance. World leaders scrambled to emergency meetings, weighing their limited options. In the White House Situation Room, President Rodriguez sat at the head of the table, her face a mask of determination. What are our options, people? General Chung cleared his throat. Madam President, I'm afraid our conventional forces are no match for their technology. However, he paused, glancing at a woman sitting quietly in the corner. Dr. Patel's speech at the UN gave us an idea. Dr. Aisha Patel leaned forward, her eyes bright with intensity. Madam President, the aliens believe us to be primitive, incapable of resisting their technology. But they've made a crucial mistake. They've underestimated human ingenuity and our ability to adapt rapidly. Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. Go on. Patel nodded to a young man beside her. This is Dr. Raj Chandrasekhar, one of our top computer scientists. He has something to show you. Chandrasekhar tapped on his tablet, and a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room. It showed a complex network of interconnected nodes. This, he said, his voice trembling slightly with excitement, is the backbone of our new quantum communication system. We've been developing it in secret for years, originally as a defense against cyber warfare. But now, it might just be our ace in the hole. The room buzzed with questions as Chandrasekhar explained the system's potential. It was unhackable by conventional means and could maintain global communication even if satellites were destroyed. Rodriguez's eyes narrowed. And the aliens don't know about this. No, Madam President, Patel confirmed. They assume that by taking out our satellites, they'd cripple our global communications. They have no idea we have this backup. A slow smile spread across Rodriguez's face. Well then, let's use this to our advantage. General Chung, coordinate with all allied nations. Dr. Chandrasekhar, I want this system fully operational within 24 hours. It's time we showed the Empire that humanity isn't as helpless as they think. As the meeting adjourned, Rodriguez pulled Patel aside. Doctor, your insight into alien psychology has been invaluable. I have a special task for you. Patel listened intently as the president outlined a daring plan. High above Earth, aboard the Imperial flagship, Ambassador Zixera reclined in his command chair, a smug expression on his alien features. Surrounding him were holograms of various Imperial commanders. The human's deadline expires in 1 hour, Zixera announced. Prepare to disable their primitive communication networks. Once they're blind and deaf, they'll have no choice but to submit. One of the commanders, a reptilian being named Krex, spoke up. Ambassador, with all due respect, are we certain this is the wisest course of action? My analysis of human history suggests they may not respond well to. Your concerns are noted, Commander corrects. Zix-Era interrupted, his tone dismissive. But these humans are barely out of their Stone Age. Once we demonstrate our power, they'll fall in line like all the others. Crex's scales rippled in a gesture of unease, but he said no more. As the deadline approached, tension mounted on both sides. On Earth, people huddled around screens, waiting for news. In secret bunkers, military personnel and hackers stood ready, fingers hovering over keyboards. The instant the deadline passed, the Empire struck. A pulse of energy rippled across the planet, frying satellites and disrupting conventional communications. Cell phones went dead, TV screens turned to static, and internet connections failed. For a moment, the world held its breath. Then, to the Empire's shock, the humans' response came, swift and unexpected. Across the globe, the quantum communication network sprang to life. Military commands were relayed. Emergency broadcasts reached anxious citizens, and most surprisingly to the aliens, a coordinated cyber attack hit Imperial systems. Aboard the flagship, alarms blared. Zix-Era leaped from his chair, mandibles clicking in agitation. What's happening? A junior officer's voice came through, panic evident even in the alien's tone. Ambassador, we're being hacked. Somehow, the humans are in our systems. On screens around the ship, human faces appeared. President Rodriguez, flanked by world leaders from every continent. Ambassador Zix-Era. Rodriguez's voice was calm but steely. You seem to have underestimated us. Your attempt to isolate us has failed, and now we're evening the playing field. Zix-Era sputtered. Impossible. Your primitive technology is not as primitive as you assumed. Rodriguez finished. While you were busy looking down on us, we were studying you, learning, adapting. As if to emphasize her point, Imperial ships across Earth's orbit suddenly lost power, drifting helplessly in space. Rodriguez continued, We are not your subjects, Ambassador. We are not a resource to be exploited or a people to be subjugated. We are humanity, and we will defend our home. With that, the transmission cut off. In its place, a simple message scrolled across every Imperial screen. Earth is not yours to take. Chaos erupted on the flagship. Zix-Era barked orders, demanding explanations and solutions. But the Empire's vaunted technology, for the first time in recent memory, had been outmaneuvered. On Earth, the counterattack was just beginning. Special Forces teams, equipped with reverse-engineered alien tech, launched daring raids on Imperial ground forces. The aliens, expecting an easy occupation, found themselves ambushed by humans who seemed to appear and disappear at will. In New Delhi, Dr. Patel led a team of anthropologists and psychologists, analyzing alien communications and behavior patterns. Their insights proved crucial in predicting Imperial tactics and exploiting weaknesses in alien psychology. One of her colleagues, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, made a breakthrough. Dr. Patel, look at this. The Empire's command structure, it's incredibly centralized. They rely almost entirely on top-down orders. Patel's eyes lit up. Of course, they're so used to dealing with subjugated species, they never developed a flexible command system. If we can disrupt their leadership, the information was quickly relayed to military command. Within hours, human forces began targeting Imperial officers and communication hubs, throwing the alien forces into disarray. Meanwhile, in a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Chandrasekhar and his team worked feverishly. They had managed to capture an Imperial weapons platform and were in the process of reverse engineering its technology. It's incredible, Chandrasekhar muttered, eyes wide as he studied the alien device. Their tech is advanced, yes, but it's inflexible. They never expected to encounter resistance, so they never designed for adaptability. His colleague, Dr. Maria Santos, nodded in agreement. It's like they've been coasting on their advanced tech for so long, they forgot how to innovate. But we've been innovating our entire history. As the hours ticked by, the tide began to turn. Imperial forces, expecting an easy victory, found themselves bogged down in a war they were ill prepared to fight. Human guerrilla tactics, combined with rapidly adapted alien tech, kept the invaders off balance. In orbit, the disabled Imperial ships were slowly regaining power, but the damage was done. The aura of invincibility had been shattered. Ambassador Zixera, his composure in tatters, convened an emergency meeting with his commanders. How? He demanded. How did these primitives manage this? Commander Krex stepped forward, his earlier caution replaced with grim satisfaction. I try to warn you, Ambassador. You dismissed these humans as savages, but you failed to understand their true nature. They're not just another species to be conquered. They're survivors, adapters. In your hubris, you gave them the one thing they needed most, a reason to unite. Zixera slumped in his chair, the weight of his miscalculation finally sinking in. Send word to the Imperial capital, he said, his voice hollow. Tell them we may have made a grave mistake. As the message was relayed across the vast distances of space, Earth continued its resistance. The Empire had come expecting an easy conquest, but they had unknowingly awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity, with its back against the wall, was revealing a strength and ingenuity that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of this young, vibrant species. The battle for Earth had only just begun, but already the course of galactic history was changing. The Empire's hubris had opened the door, and humanity was ready to step through it, not as subjects, but as equals in the cosmic arena. Humanity unleashed. The first rays of dawn were just breaking over the horizon when the call came through. President Rodriguez, who had barely slept in the past 72 hours, snapped to attention as her quantum-encrypted phone buzzed. Madam President, General Chang's voice crackled through, a note of excitement breaking through his usually stoic demeanor. Project Prometheus is ready. A smile, equal parts fierce and weary, spread across Rodriguez's face. Excellent. Initiate Phase 1. Across the globe, in hidden bunkers and secret labs, teams of scientists and soldiers sprang into action. Project Prometheus, the fruit of humanity's feverish reverse engineering efforts, was about to change the course of the war. In orbit, the Imperial fleet had regrouped after the initial human counterattack. Zixera, his pride wounded but his resolve hardened, prepared to launch a devastating planetary bombardment. He would make these upstart humans pay for their insolence. All ships target Earth's major population centers, he commanded, his voice cold. Let's see how they resist when their cities are reduced to ash. But as the Imperial ships charged their main weapons, something unexpected happened. Alarms blared across the fleet as ship after ship suddenly lost power, their systems going haywire. On the bridge of the flagship, chaos reigned. What's happening? Zixera demanded, his composure slipping. A junior officer, panic evident in his multifaceted eyes, responded, Sir, it's some kind of virus. It's overriding our systems. Down on Earth, in a fortified bunker beneath the Pentagon, Dr. Raj Chandrasekhar allowed himself a moment of triumph. Surrounding him, banks of quantum computers hummed, executing the most sophisticated cyber attack in human history. The Trojan horse worked, he announced to the tense room. Their arrogance was their downfall. They never thought to check the systems they reactivated after our initial hack. Dr. Patel, who had been coordinating with Chandrasekhar's team, nodded in approval. Their centralized command structure makes them vulnerable. They're not used to thinking on their feet. As the Imperial fleet hung helpless in orbit, Earth's response began in earnest. From hidden silos and underwater bases, a new generation of human spacecraft launched. These ships, a hybrid of human innovation and reverse-engineered alien tech, streaked towards the disabled Imperial vessels. In the cockpit of the lead ship, callsign Phoenix 1, Captain Zhou Chen felt a surge of anticipation. Years of secret training had prepared her for this moment, But the reality of piloting a spaceship to battle an alien armada still seems surreal. "All wings, report in," she commanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Phoenix 2, standing by. Phoenix 3, ready to kick some alien ass. Phoenix 4, systems green." As the human fleet engaged, the battle for Earth's orbit began in earnest. The Imperial ships, still struggling with the virus, found themselves outmaneuvered by the smaller, more agile Earth vessels. Beams of energy crisscrossed the void, as humanity gave the Empire its first taste of real resistance. Back on Earth, the ground war took on a new dimension. Special forces teams, equipped with exosuits that could have come straight out of science fiction, launched daring raids on alien strongholds. These suits, another product of Project Prometheus, enhanced human strength and speed to superhuman levels while providing protection against alien weaponry. In the ruins of downtown Los Angeles, Staff Sergeant John "Bull" Torres led his squad through the rubble-strewn streets. Their objective: an alien command post that had been coordinating attacks across the western seaboard. "Remember," Bull growled to his team, "we hit hard, we hit fast, and we show these ETs what happens when you mess with humanity." The assault was swift and brutal. The aliens, caught off guard by the humans' enhanced capabilities, fell before they could mount an effective defense. Within minutes, the command post was secured, and valuable intel was being transmitted back to headquarters. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In the Amazon rainforest, Brazilian commandos used their knowledge of the terrain to ambush alien patrols. In the mountains of Afghanistan, coalition forces turned the tables on the invaders, using guerrilla tactics that had stymied empires for centuries. But it wasn't just military might that turned the tide. Humanity's greatest weapon had always been its mind, and now that intellect was focused with laser-like intensity on the problem of alien invasion. In a makeshift lab in Mumbai, Dr. Amrita Rao had a breakthrough. Analyzing samples of alien biology, she discovered a vulnerability in their immune systems. They'd never been exposed to Earth's microbiome. She explained to her colleagues, excitement building in her voice. "We might be able to develop a non-lethal bioagent that could incapacitate them without harming humans." The news spread rapidly through the global scientific community. Labs from Beijing to Berlin began collaborating on what was dubbed Project Achilles, working tirelessly to develop a safe, effective countermeasure against the alien physiology. As the battle raged on, stories of human courage and ingenuity began to spread. There was the tale of the Ukrainian farmers who repurposed their tractors to tow disabled alien vehicles, much to the invaders' bewilderment. In Silicon Valley, a team of teenage hackers managed to crack the alien entertainment networks, broadcasting a rickroll across the Imperial fleet. These stories, shared through the quantum network, bolstered morale and reminded every human of what they were fighting for. It wasn't just survival. It was the right to determine their own destiny among the stars. The Empire, for its part, was reeling. Never in their long history of conquest had they faced a species that not only resisted but actually pushed back. The carefully maintained image of imperial invincibility was crumbling, and whispers of doubt began to spread through their ranks. Commander Krex, who had warned of underestimating the humans, found himself suddenly in high demand. "You have to understand," he explained to a group of frustrated Imperial officers. "These humans, they thrive on challenge. The more we push them, the more they innovate. It's like nothing we've ever encountered." But the Empire was vast, and its resources nearly limitless. As reports of setbacks reached the Imperial throne world, the Emperor himself took notice. In a communication to Zixera, the Emperor's displeasure was evident. "This rebellion must be crushed." The Emperor's multi-tone voice resonated through the flagship's command center. "I am dispatching the Imperial Guard. Failure is not an option. Zixera. End this, or it will be ended for you." As the communication ended, Zixera felt a chill run down his spine. The Imperial Guard were the Emperor's elite forces, warriors whose very name inspired fear across the galaxy. Their arrival would change the dynamic of the war dramatically. On Earth, as news of the impending Imperial reinforcements spread, leaders gathered to plan their next move. In a secure conference room deep beneath Geneva, President Rodriguez addressed the assembled heads of state. "We've bloodied their nose," she said, her voice firm. "But the real test is yet to come. The Empire is bringing in its best troops, thinking it will break us. But they've forgotten something crucial. This is our home, and humanity will never surrender its home." A chorus of agreement met her words. Humanity had tasted victory, had seen that the aliens were not invincible. There would be no submission, no surrender. The war would continue, and Earth would show the galaxy why it was a grave mistake to underestimate the human spirit. As the meeting adjourned, Dr. Patel approached Rodriguez. "Madam President," she said, her eyes gleaming with an idea, "I think I know how we can use the arrival of the Imperial Guard to our advantage." Rodriguez raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Go on, Doctor. I'm all ears." As Patel outlined her plan, a slow smile spread across the president's face. The Empire thought it was springing a trap, but humanity was about to spring one of its own. The next phase of the war was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy takes notice. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire, defying the Empire's attempts at censorship. On 1,000 worlds, in smoky bars and glittering palaces alike, the whispers grew. A small blue planet on the fringes of known space was giving the mighty Galactic Empire a run for its money. On Zarthak Prime, a hub world teeming with species from across the Empire, an underground resistance meeting was in full swing. Krex, the former Imperial commander who had warned against underestimating the humans, addressed the assembled rebels. "I've seen it with my own eyes," Krex said, his scales shimmering with excitement. "These humans, they're unlike anything the Empire has ever faced. They don't just resist. They adapt, they innovate. In mere weeks, they've gone from a pre-FTL civilization to battling our fleets on equal footing." A murmur ran through the crowd. A Vulcaran, its tentacles quivering with skepticism, spoke up. "But how? The Empire has crushed countless resistances before. What makes these humans different?" Krex's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "It's their spirit, their sheer, relentless determination. And more than that, their diversity. Each human is like a unique puzzle piece, but together, they form an unbreakable whole." As the resistance meeting concluded, its members dispersed with a new spark of hope. If humanity could stand against the Empire, perhaps they weren't as invincible as they claimed. Back on Earth, humanity was preparing for its greatest test yet. The Imperial Guard, the Emperor's elite shock troops, had arrived in the solar system. Their pitch-black ships, sleek and deadly, took up positions around Earth's orbit. In the White House Situation Room, President Rodriguez studied the holographic display of the enemy fleet. "They're not attacking immediately," she mused. "They're trying to intimidate us." Dr. Patel nodded. "Classic psychological warfare. They want us to feel overwhelmed, to give up before the battle even begins." General Chung snorted. "Fat chance of that. If anything, our people are more fired up than ever." He wasn't wrong. Across the globe, humans from all walks of life were contributing to the war effort in ways big and small. In Kenya, Maasai warriors patrolled the savannas, their intimate knowledge of the land helping to spot hidden alien encampments. In Japan, Anon Studios produced morale-boosting propaganda that spread virally across the quantum net. Even in the Antarctic research stations, scientists worked tirelessly to understand alien tech, their isolation proving an unexpected advantage against enemy attacks. But humanity's resistance wasn't confined to Earth alone. In a daring operation that would have been unthinkable just months ago, human forces had established a base on Mars. Captain Zhou Chen, hero of the orbital battles, led the first human colonization of another planet. under fire from alien invaders. "Welcome to Red Base," Chen said, greeting a fresh batch of recruits as they disembarked from their shuttle. The dome of the Martian base stretched above them, a testament to human engineering and alien tech. "Hope you all like the color red, because that's about all you're going to see for a while." The Martian base served a crucial purpose. Using the reverse-engineered alien tech, human scientists had made a breakthrough in faster-than-light communication. Mars now served as a relay station, allowing Earth to send messages to the wider galaxy, bypassing Imperial sensors. Dr. Raj Chandrasekhar, now heading the Mars Communication Project, fired up the FTL transmitter. "Let's see how the Empire likes it when we tell our side of the story," he said with a grin. Across the galaxy, on planets chafing under Imperial rule, the human broadcasts were a revelation. Here was a species, new to the galactic stage, not only resisting the Empire but actively pushing them back. The broadcasts showcased human culture, music, art, and their fierce determination to remain free. On Epsilon Eridani B, a water world long ago conquered by the Empire, the native Aquarians watched the human transmissions with growing excitement. In the grand coral chambers of their underwater cities, debates rage. "For centuries, we've bowed to Imperial rule," Elder Shasa said, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with emotion. "But these humans show us another way. Perhaps it's time we remembered how to fight." Similar scenes played out across 100 worlds. Species that had long ago given up hope of resistance found themselves reevaluating their situation. The Empire, once thought invincible, suddenly seemed vulnerable. But the Empire was far from defeated. On the Imperial throne world of Exinior, the Emperor himself called an emergency session of the High Council. "This human resistance must be crushed," the Emperor's voice boomed across the vast chamber. "Not just for the sake of this backwater planet, but for the stability of the entire Empire. If they continue to succeed, others may get ideas." The council murmured in agreement. Resources from across the Empire were redirected to the Earth campaign. The Imperial propaganda machine went into overdrive, portraying the humans as savage, unpredictable barbarians who needed to be subdued for their own good. But the Empire's efforts to control the narrative were hampered by an unexpected source: their own troops. Veterans returning from the Earth campaign told tales of human bravery and ingenuity that directly contradicted official reports. In the bars and cantinas of 1,000 worlds, grizzled Imperial soldiers swapped stories of the tenacious Terrans with a mixture of frustration and grudging respect. One such veteran, a gruff Kronax named Grok, held court in a dingy spaceport bar on the rim world of Zeta 9. "I'm telling ya," he growled, slamming down his mug of fermented plasma. "These humans are something else." Watched one of them take down a crawl battle mech with nothing but a primitive projectile weapon and sheer guts. His audience, a motley crew of spacers and dock workers, listened with rapt attention. "But the Empire says they're just savages," one ventured. Grok let out a barking laugh. "Savages? Ha! They reversed engineered our tech in weeks. Turned our own weapons against us. And the way they fight." He shook his head in disbelief. "It's like they don't know the meaning of impossible." As tales like these spread, the galaxy's perception of humanity began to shift. They were no longer seen as just another primitive species to be conquered, but as a force to be reckoned with. This shift in perception did not go unnoticed by other galactic powers. The Andromedan Confederacy, longtime rivals of the Empire, watched the conflict with growing interest. In a secure chamber deep within their capital shipworld, Confederacy leaders debated their next move. "This is an unprecedented opportunity," arch-strategist Zilar argued, her holographic form flickering slightly. "The Empire is overextended, focused on this Earth. If we were to offer aid to the humans..." First Speaker Thul raised a tentacle in caution. "We must be careful. If we move too openly, it could trigger a full-scale galactic war." "Perhaps," Zyler conceded, "but imagine the potential. These humans have proven to be adaptable, innovative. As allies, they could tip the balance of power in our favor. After hours of debate, a decision was reached. The Confederacy would send a covert delegation to Earth, ostensibly on a diplomatic mission to the Empire, but with secret orders to make contact with human leaders. As the Andromedan ship slipped into FTL, bound for the Sol system, the galaxy held its breath. The conflict that had begun as a simple invasion of a backwater world had evolved into something much larger. Ancient alliances were being questioned, subjugated species were finding new courage, and the balance of power that had held for millennia was teetering on the brink. And at the center of it all was Earth, a small blue planet whose inhabitants had unwittingly sparked a galactic revolution. As news of the Andromedan mission spread through hidden channels, rebels and dissidents across the galaxy allowed themselves to hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, the age of imperial dominance was coming to an end. In the depths of space, aboard the Imperial flagship, Ambassador Zix Era received the reports of growing unrest with mounting dread. What had begun as a simple subjugation had turned into a nightmare that threatened the very foundations of the Empire. And the humans, those primitives he had so arrogantly dismissed, were at the heart of it all. As he stared out at the star-studded void, Zix Era couldn't shake a chilling thought. In trying to conquer Earth, had the Empire inadvertently sown the seeds of its own destruction? The galaxy was watching, waiting, poised on the edge of monumental change. And humanity, the unlikely catalyst, stood ready to fight not just for their own freedom, but for the freedom of all sentient beings. The next move would determine the fate of civilizations across the cosmos. A new dawn for the galaxy. The Sol system had become a crucible of conflict, a testing ground where the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy would be decided. As the Imperial Guard tightened its grip around Earth, humanity prepared for its most daring gambit yet. In a secret bunker deep beneath the ruins of Geneva, President Rodriguez stood before a holographic display of the solar system, surrounded by military leaders and scientific advisors from around the world. "Operation Freedom Star," she announced, her voice steady despite the weight of trillions of lives resting on her shoulders. "This is our moment, not just to defend Earth, but to liberate the galaxy." Dr. Paddle stepped forward, activating a series of complex diagrams. "Thanks to the intel provided by Commander Krex and other defectors, we've identified key weaknesses in the Imperial structure. Their over-reliance on centralized command, their dismissal of lesser species, these will be their downfall." General Chang nodded grimly. "We've already transmitted the plan to our allies across the galaxy. The Andromedan Confederacy has pledged their support, and resistance movements on 100 worlds stand ready. When we strike as one." As the final details were hammered out, a tense silence fell over the room. They all knew the stakes. Victory meant freedom. Defeat meant the extinction of not just humanity, but hope itself for countless oppressed species. In orbit, aboard her flagship Defiance, Captain Zhou Chen ran final checks on the newly upgraded fleet. Earth ships now bristled with a mixture of reverse-engineered alien tech and human innovations. Faster-than-light drives hummed alongside railguns, shield generators paired with electronic warfare suites that would have been science fiction mere months ago. "All wings, report in," Chen commanded, her voice calm despite the butterflies in her stomach. One by one, squadron leaders confirmed their readiness. Humans flew alongside alien allies, former Imperial soldiers who had defected, inspired by Earth's resistance. As the fleet prepared to jump, Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Well, ladies and gentlemen," she addressed her crew, "let's go make history." Across the galaxy, as if choreographed by some cosmic conductor, the revolution began. On the swamp world of Ectarax Prime, slave laborers overwhelmed their imperial overseers. In the sprawling megacities of Omega Centauri, hackers inspired by Earth's example crashed the planetary control grid. 1,000 acts of defiance, large and small, erupted across the Empire. The imperial response was swift and brutal. The Emperor himself took command, ordering all available forces to crush the uprisings. But in doing so, he played right into humanity's hands. As Imperial fleets converged on rebel strongholds, the Earth fleet made its move, using the innovative quantum fold drive, a human improvement on alien FTL technology. They jumped directly into the heart of Imperial space. The battle for the Imperial throne world of Eximir would be remembered for centuries as one of the most audacious military operations in galactic history. Earth ships appeared in the skies above the Imperial Palace, catching the home fleet completely off guard. Leading the charge was the Defiance, with Captain Chen at the helm. "All ships, engage at will," Chen ordered, her voice steady. "Remember your training, watch each other's backs, and let's show the Emperor what happens when you mess with Earth." The space above Eximir erupted into chaos. Human fighters darted between lumbering Imperial dreadnoughts, their unorthodox tactics confounding enemy gunners. On the ground, drop pods landed in key locations, disgorging teams of elite human soldiers and alien rebels. In the Imperial Palace, alarms blared as the Emperor received increasingly panicked reports. "Impossible," he raged, his multiple limbs flailing in agitation. "How did they penetrate our defenses? Where is the home fleet?" But there was no time for answers. A massive explosion rocked the palace, and through the smoke strode a figure that would become legendary. Staff Sergeant John Bull Torres, leading a mixed team of human commandos and alien rebels. "Knock, knock," Bull growled, his exosuit scorched but still functioning. Hope we're not interrupting anything important. As battles raged across Eximir and 100 other worlds, the true genius of humanity's plan became clear. This was not just a military operation. It was a revolution of ideas. Broadcast across every frequency in every language of the galaxy came the voice of Dr. Aisha Patil. "People of the galaxy, hear me. We are not here to conquer, to subjugate, or to rule. We are here to break the chains of oppression, to offer a hand of friendship to all sentient beings. The Empire told you we were savages, but we come bearing a gift more powerful than any weapon. The gift of freedom, of self-determination, of hope." Her words, passionate and sincere, reached the hearts of billions. Species that had known nothing but imperial rule for generations found themselves daring to imagine a different future. In the depths of the Imperial Palace, as Bull's team fought their way towards the throne room, they were joined by an unexpected ally. Commander Krex, now a key leader in the Galactic Rebellion, fell into step beside Bull. "Never thought I'd see the day," Krex mused, his scales shimmering with barely contained excitement. A motley crew of humans and aliens about to topple the greatest empire the galaxy has ever known. Bull grinned beneath his helmet. "Yeah, well, toppling empires before breakfast is just how we humans roll." The final confrontation in the Imperial throne room was anticlimactic. The Emperor, faced with the combined might of humanity and a galaxy united against him, chose surrender over annihilation. As Bull and Krex secured the palace, Captain Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "All forces, be advised. The Imperial fleet has stood down. I repeat, the Imperial fleet has stood down. We've done it, people. The war is over." A cheer went up across the galaxy, from the streets of New York to the methane swamps of Gamma Draconis. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy tasted true freedom. In the days that followed, as the dust of revolution settled, the monumental task of building a new galactic order began. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered on Earth, a symbolic choice that recognized humanity's role in sparking the revolution. President Rodriguez, now hailed as a galactic liberator, addressed the first meeting of the new Galactic Council. "We stand here today not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as equals. Each of us, human, Andromedan, former imperial citizen, and every species in between, has a vital role to play in shaping our shared future. The Empire's greatest mistake was believing that diversity was a weakness. We know it to be our greatest strength. As the Council debated the shape of the new galactic government, it became clear that humanity's impact went far beyond military victory. Earth became a melting pot of galactic cultures, a place where ideas and innovations from 1,000 worlds merged and evolved. Dr. Raj Chandrasekhar found himself working alongside the greatest scientific minds in the galaxy, tackling challenges that would have been unimaginable just a year ago. "It's incredible," he mused to Dr. Patel as they took a break from a particularly intense research session. "We went from struggling to understand alien tech to pioneering new fields of science in the blink of an eye." Patel nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "That's always been humanity's greatest gift, our ability to adapt, to take ideas from different sources, and create something entirely new. And now, with the knowledge of the entire galaxy at our fingertips, the possibilities are endless." As the months passed, a new galactic civilization began to take shape. It was not perfect. There were debates, disagreements, and challenges to overcome. But it was built on a foundation of mutual respect, shared knowledge, and a commitment to freedom that had been forged in the crucible of war. Earth, once a backwater planet on the fringes of the galaxy, now stood as a shining beacon of hope. Humans, who had been dismissed as primitive barbarians, were now respected as innovators, mediators, and friends to species across the cosmos. In a quiet moment, as the first Galactic Council session adjourned, President Rodriguez found herself standing alone on a balcony overlooking the new capital city, a breathtaking blend of architectural styles from 100 worlds. Commander Krex joined her, his normally gruff demeanor softened by the weight of the moment. "You know," Krex said, gazing out at the bustling city below, "when I first warned Zix's era about underestimating humans, even I had no idea what you were truly capable of." Rodriguez smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of a new dawn, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. "To be honest, Commander, neither did we. But that's the beauty of humanity. We never know our limits until we're pushed to them. And then, we break through." As they stood there, watching the sun rise on a new era of galactic cooperation, both human and alien felt a profound sense of hope. The stars, once a distant dream, now promised adventures beyond imagining. And humanity, tested by fire and found unbreakable, stood ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring. The galaxy had been forever changed, and the legend of Earth, the little planet that could, would be told around alien campfires for millennia to come.